Hello, gentle viewers. This is Ab Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 25 for the final time. This is going to be an out of the park extravaganza. We're going to do a whole season, start to finish, and we'll end with a few parting remarks about Silver Wolves come and gone and how we did in this franchise. So, not going to waste any other time talking about what's to come, except to remind you that next Friday's episode will be later in the day. Um, I don't know when exactly, but I'm targeting either 8 p.m. Central or 9 p.m. Central. But I will upload it as soon as I'm done and let you see the beginning of our Chicago White Sox series. So hopefully you're looking forward to that. All right, let's get stuff done. So, first things first, we have a lot of people to hire. A bunch of people retired, and starting with our scouting director, this is probably the most important hire of the offseason. Um, do we even care so much about personality at the moment? Uh, Easy going would be preferable, but I don't think it's that crucial. And Kamani Warford is such an amazing coach that we're just going to sign him and not even think about it. All right, so that's that coaching dealt with. Um, I want to give an opportunity for some younger coaches to get some opportunities here. So we did a new assistant GM. I think that's someone else I will also hire myself, potentially, possibly. I want somebody with a really nice reputation. Someone who I can trust to take over the team when I am gone. Somebody who has a very high development preference, someone willing to be aggressive on trades. We could take Dan Hickox. I feel like that's kind of silly, though. You're the only GM with a good reputation, which is a little embarrassing. Let's sort by somebody who has a high. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Matt Birch. I think he's my understudy. Who will take the Silver Wolves off to bigger and better things when I am gone. Now, I'm pretty sure I can't hire a pitching coach or first base coach. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Huan here wants to control both of those things. So, you know what, bro? Do what you gotta do, my friend. Anthony Rodriguez has, I think, earned himself an opportunity to coach Oklahoma City. And let's get ourselves a new rookie manager. We want somebody, again, that's really good at mechanics. Yeah, a guy like an Alejandro Ayala would be perfect if he weren't just a pitch. Actually, he's actually a pretty good coach, period. Let's try it out. There you go. Offers made. Okay, electronic messages. Bach will be back in a week. That's perfectly fine. I don't want to do any player additions until we get our scouting director signed, so I'm not going to look at any of my players. But I will, however, get player development set up. Lozada, I'd like you to work on quality of contact. I think that's the one thing you could really desperately use to be one of the best. You're going to work on pitching control. Mike Daly is pretty damn close to Major League ready, kind of shockingly. Oh no, so I was looking at Armenta, not Daily. Yeah, Daily's pretty far away. Work on plate discipline. You can never go wrong with plate discipline, right? Armenta is injured and won't be ready for 4 months. So while I think he's got a great, in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and settle one issue right now. Put him on the 40 man. Obviously he's not ready to do any kind of training, which is fine. Pat Gillette, I guess, can work on batting eye, I suppose. Victor Emmanuel Bachman is still somebody that I'd kind of like to keep around if I could, but I don't know that I'm willing to give him a spot on the 40 man for that purpose. Maybe I am. Yeah, maybe I am. And then let's get you working on your plate discipline, sir. And then last but certainly not least, Marquis Smoke or Danny Woodlow. I want to get Marquis Smoke learning a new position. I think that's the best thing we can do for him because he's not a second baseman. He's kind of a trash tier second baseman, to be honest with you. So if we can get more out of him, that'll just give us a better chance to be successful, in my opinion. What if I gave you $150,000 dude? That's not a bad player, actually. I mean, I don't rate his chances making the major leagues anytime soon, but he would be a cool thing to have. I'm not going to trade for any prospects. That is one difference I would make from how I would normally play this game. I am not going to. I'm not going to trade for prospects because I know that I'm not going to play the game anymore after this. So we have acquired Warford, which is good news. Hopefully, he can get to work quite quickly here. Now let's go and look at arbitration. Dan Sutton at $3.2 million is highway robbery. Like there's nothing else for it. That's an amazing deal. I'm not gonna give him a long term deal because that would be fucking stupid. But I am gonna give him his 1 year deal for sure. Wants a little bit more money than that. I respect that. I respect the hustle. There you go. Sam Sexton, I don't know, man. I feel like we've seen enough out of him for 2 consecutive seasons to know that he's probably never going to be a good hitter. I don't know. I think he's good enough that for this little amount of money, there's no reason not to keep him. But it is concerning to me that we can't do better than that. I mean, maybe we could, but probably not. I'm going to look for a high quality second baseman. I think that's something I'd be interested in acquiring. Um, I have 3 shortstops, all of whom are due new contracts, and I'm not going to carry all 3 of them. I think Bouger is just not the kind of guy that I'm interested in keeping, so we're going to go ahead and non-tender him. I will trade him, but nobody's going to want him. Like there's not an offer for Bouger that actually makes any sense. Yeah, nobody wants him, and rightfully so. That's smart baseball right there. Guifon is an amazing defensive shortstop. If he had any offensive skills, he'd be one of the best in the league. It's still good enough to keep him around, for sure. But that certainly doesn't guarantee him a spot going forward. And then last but not least, Rody Bomers. He's such a weird hitter. His offensive profile is so limited that you can't really trust him to have a great season. When he hits 323, he's going to be an amazing player, and his defense and speed hold up regardless of how well he's hitting. I think paying him 6 million is probably acceptable. I think that's probably a sum that I'm willing to consider. Without too much hassle. But again, okay, is there anybody here worth keeping? I would keep Roca if his salary demands weren't quite so high. Because I do think, especially with Chris Lane and Willard LaFontaine going, I do need a reliable reliever. You know what? We will sign him to a new extension. I know I'd hemmed and hawed about this last episode. The fact is, Roca's the kind of pitcher who's really, really good. And yes, there is some risk here because he hasn't losing velocity over the years, but he's still a damn fine pitcher. And it's possible that he will bounce back quickly. Maybe he's losing velocity from underuse, which is a thing that actually happens. So we're going to give him a new contract. I'd bring Chris Lane back if he hadn't had such a bad year. And pitchers his age typically don't get better with age. And there's a very obvious spike in walks. And that's the kind of thing you can't easily overlook. LaFontaine has actually been a pretty solid pitcher for us, but again, I think we can do better. I think there's going to be a couple of high quality relievers that are ready for a new contract. You don't like my manager, which is fair. I guess I can't be mad about that. Braswell had a pretty awesome year. First man up rotation wise is probably Armenta. We're going to want to take it slow with him, obviously, but I think there's a really high probability that he ends up on the opening day roster. Maybe not to start, but possibly to relieve. Maybe. Potentially. All right, we got Matthew Q. Birchington. Let us quickly turn this nonsense off. Butcher looks good to me. This is going to be a really interesting season, I think. Because like even if we knew we weren't going to play the game, right? Our entire offense had a bad year last year, with a couple of minor exceptions like Pat Martinez and Darren Heil. Most of the team just wasn't playing that effectively. And so we need them pretty much across the board to play better this year if we're going to have any chance of capturing a world championship for our final year in the league. I think there is so much growth potential. Like, there is loads and loads and loads of growth potential for most of this team. Not all of it, but most of it. Most of this team has a lot of growth potential. So, like, Ramiro Figueroa should be better. Joe Bach should be better. David Lozada should be better. There's plenty of room for growth, but we can't take it for granted. We have to be ready to make a move if that move is required, so we don't waste another season of this tremendous rotation. Sutton is back for a while longer. Boo hiss. Chris Wilson got pitcher of the year, reliever of the year. Nice. Heil, Sexton, and Wood all got Gold Gloves, so that's amazing. I like to see high quality defense. It fills my heart with joy. Daniel Roca took the extension. Pat Martinez got himself a Silver Slugger. Great year for him. Well done. Yeah. Hopefully we pitch Roca a lot more. I think that's what is causing him to lose velocity, is just the fact that he didn't get as much opportunity to pitch. Um, I am going to target the bullpen with free agency. I think it's the most important way to weaken upgrade. Um, I wouldn't say no to the right position player, but to be honest, I don't think that's what we're in the market for. Um, I think we have enough talented infielders in particular. Wait, that's on my Zapata, is it? Wait. Game? Don't you do that to me. Don't you tell me Sergio Zapata became a fucking manager and then played for someone else. Oh, the Japanese guy. Okay. All right, no need to panic, guys. Let's look and see who the manager of the year is. Don't be Sergio Zapata, please. There's lots of Zapatas in this world. Don't be that one. Okay. All right. We're in the clear. It's fine. Okay. Phew. All right. For agency filings, we have about 29 million. That is a reasonable sum of money for sure. Um, let's get after it. 13 with us for Nate Kellogg is fucking stupid. Eh. On a team where I didn't have Darren Heil, I'd actually very strongly consider this kind of offer because I do think he's an interesting player, but I'm not going to do that. Phil Savage is earning 14 million a year. What the fuck? How? I mean, he's had a pretty amazing career since leaving us, but I'm not paying him 14 million. I could do the funniest thing and bring back Chris Lane for 2 million. Let's look at relievers though. Let's actually look and contemplate. Okay, Josh Lynn is obviously an amazing closer. I am not going to pay him that much money. I refuse. Jesus Fuentes is okay. He's coming off of a pretty bad year, though. Mostly because of the home runs. That might be a 1 year aberration. I'd like to go a little bit younger than him. Juan Loza is exactly the kind of pitcher that I'd like. Hard throwing lefty, good mix of pitches. Not great control, but that's honestly his only real issue. Let's offer him a 1 year deal. Luis Villegas is an amazing pitcher that I'm not willing to pay that much money to. Let's also grab Bobby Maldonado. Um, yeah, I think these seem like two reasonable picks for a very reasonable sum, mind. What else would I might be interested in? I feel like starters we have plenty. And I know there's definitely some injury risk. Like there's Dan Sutton that needs to come back. There's Jorge Armenta that needs to come back. Um, we could pick up a premium outfielder. I'm at least willing to ask the question of is there an outstanding outfielder that we could call our own? Not a guy who's wrecked. I don't hate Kim. I just don't see the appeal. I don't think he's what we're looking for. Juan Galindo, I remember you. Juan Gavaret, an old friend. Yonaker Davenport doesn't interest me. There's nothing here. This is an uninspired class, to be sure. We could offer Juan Caceres, a minor league deal, I guess. That's fine. Maybe. Let's look at infielders. Is there anybody here that gets my motor running? Ben Brackett is pretty good, but we also don't have enough money for him. Like it's a non-starter. I don't have that kind of money. Allen Anderson, I definitely don't have the money for him either. He's also not a third baseman. He's a first baseman. I guess he's an okay third baseman. Yeah, I'm just not looking at anybody here and saying this player I desperately need on my team. If I didn't have Darren Heil, I would strongly consider offering Chang Lit Chu here a chance. I like guys with big power and great batting eyes, and he definitely has that, but I just don't see an upgrade for us offensively here. So I think we're just going to go ahead and sim forward up to maybe the Hall of Fame voting. Correct. You are all quite correct. These guys all need to be brought back. And to be fair, Anchundia, assuming he recovers the way that he should, is a massive upgrade to this lineup. He's just amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him play well. I think that could be the spark that this offense needs to be one of the best in the league again. I don't really care since I don't even get to like veto his decisions. So just pick who you want, bro. I don't need to be emailed about it. All right. Is Wilfred Castro any good? He's mid. That is most unfortunate. Oh, and he's actually the one. Well, if you're gonna use Castro in only one place, using him as your first baseman makes first base coach makes the most sense. I'm on board with that. Could we maybe get Andy Giacoletto in the Hall of Fame? Is that a thing we could ask for? Probably not. All right. Max Clark should have been in last year. I'm not upset if he makes it this year, though, because the two best players in the draft made it. So I'm pretty happy about that. Rodolfo Guerrero wasn't very good. Um, I know he's still one of my worst decisions, but even so, like this is like a journeyman career. This is not a Hall of Fame career. He's not even in the accounting. He's not even in the picture for me. I'll vote for Sapinto. Daddy O. Okay, sure. Fine. Yeah, this is just a lot of guys who aren't going to make it. I will vote for Wyatt Langford. I think he does deserve it. Potentially. But yeah, this is not an exciting class. Other than Max Clark, who had better sail in this time. Remember we played the Oakland A's? We had Max Clark. It turns out he's even better in this timeline, which is pretty exciting. I'd love for Chocolate to make it. I have no illusions that he will, though. I think it's pretty unlikely if we're keeping score at home. He's Lord Center Field. Is he any good at it? Maybe. Oh, proved by less than 5. Okay, fine. Chris DiMatteo and Jeff Shumo. He's bouncing around here. Nice. I often wonder, did we do him dirty? I don't think we did. I think we got out from under him at the right opportunity, so I'm not upset. Could have won the World Series last year, just couldn't quite have enough. Um okay, Jorge Guerrero is pretty damn good. He'd be a pretty nice feather in our cap. But I don't think I'm prepared to give up Sito. If I drop him, what does this deal look like? Yeah, I'm just not that I'm not that into it. I think a great shortstop is of more value to me than a great starter right now. Especially because we do have some arms that are gonna need rotation spots anyway, so I'm sorry that you're sad, but apparently the clubhouse didn't like him anyway. How much money did he make? He actually got a pretty small sum. Maybe we actually could have negotiated with him, but you know what? I think this is one I'm happy to let come to an end. Mr. Loza thinks he deserves more money. I don't disagree. I will pay you 3.1 million. Okay? That is something I'm willing to pay you. I'm not going to get trapped in a bidding war over a medium tier reliever. That just doesn't interest me. I have better things to spend my time and energy on than sucking up to a bargain basement reliever. That just ain't how I roll, guys. Man, Juan Carmona. Juan Carmona did get it done in the postseason last year. We have to give him his props for that. But this is a guy that I expected to be like the next amazing starting pitcher for us, and he's just been fine. And $40 million for fines seems like a pretty bad bargain, you know? Mr. Loza, I'm gonna call you Mr. Loser if you don't take my fucking offer. Damn, we didn't all of a sudden randomly get number one overall draft pick. Not that it matters. Because I enjoy the draft, I'm still gonna do it, but I'm not gonna spend like a whole bunch of brain power on it. Because I want to make sure that most of this episode is devoted to playing through the season, maybe playing through a game or two, and then the retrospective at the end. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. All right, rule 5. I feel like Agara Bay is interesting enough to deserve a roster spot, especially since I have 2 spots. Amari Kabia, I think, is also worthy of consideration. So I think we go ahead and put them both on the 40 man here. Jorge Vargas and Rocky Graves, get out of here. I want to make room so that I can potentially add on a couple players in the Rule 5 if it pleases me. Giuliano Zambrano got taken. That's honestly realistic. Like, I'm not mad about that. Sean Brassel had a fantastic season in AAA. Like, a genuinely excellent season in AAA. I just don't have room for him right now. And maybe this is one we would regret if we played it longer. I'll shortlist him just to see how he does, but Zambrano doesn't cause me any real issues. I do think he has potential to be a really good player, but I don't think that's coming soon. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm silly, but I don't think that I am silly. All right, Martinez and Moores are a pretty great combo. I'm still not opposed to picking up an outfielder to push the rest of this team because Bandon isn't that great. And Kundia is still a long ways away from coming back to the field. Like, he won't even be back until May. So we could get ourselves a quality outfielder. I think that would not go amiss. I mean, Luis Puga is pretty amazing. He's a lefty that throws almost 100 miles an hour. If there's a pitcher that is more my jam than him, I don't know who that is. So we're gonna take him. I also lost Corey Killian. Do I care about Corey Killian? Not so much. He's fine. Unlikely to be the reason we don't win the World Series. Although, who knows? Maybe I'm gonna look like a dipshit. And they're gonna be like, you fool. You foolish fool. Julio Brand can't really play the outfield, but he does have an okay bat. I don't hate that. Aranda's way too green for consideration. A guy like Zaire Fraction actually seems like he could be a decent guy. This is the kind of player I'm willing to give an opportunity to. Let's make it happen. Done. I was gonna auto draft the rest of the Rule 5. I think we got the two players that are of use to me. If you're just starting out in an OTP game, you're wondering what should I do with my time. Always take Rule 5 guys. Always. Because they cost you literally nothing. Like in real life, it costs you 40 grand. I think that's the amount you have to pay for Rule 5 draft pick. You have to pay a certain amount of money to the club. Which you then pay back if you get him back. But you know what? Cubs enjoy him. He was never gonna make it for me. I think he's got a load of arm talent. And I'm not saying that he's not doesn't have potential, but his chances of ever pitching in the major leagues for me were just so incredibly low that yeah, like he's not even a real starter. He's a reliever that just happens to have a really good arm. And there's value in that. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm saying he wasn't going to fit on this particular franchise. Loza, fuck off. That's where I'm at right now. You keep wanting more and more money. You're not a starter. You're going to fail as a starter. Go to hell. You want to come back and talk business? We can talk business. But I'm not getting into a fucking bidding war over a medium tier reliever. That's just silly. It is objectively an absurd thing to be getting my Jimmy's rustled about. All I need is our lineup to be league average. That's the realistic goal for us to be a dominating team because our pitching is just that good. Like Sergio Carrillo is low key probably a better starter than Ernie Jarvis is. Was sorry. I mean, I know that's controversial. Because Jarvis is the Hall of Famer, right? Carrillo might be better. He's definitely been more dominant than Jarvis was. He's got Cy Youngs to show for it. That's just my opinion. Joe Stevenson's the only guy to get into the Hall of Fame. Who the fuck is Joe Stevenson? How did Max Clark get left out again? He is nearly worth 100 wins better than a replacement, and yeah, you're just like derpy derpy derp. What if he didn't make it? What is Joe Stevens? I don't even know who this is. Did I vote for him? I don't think I did. What? How are you a Hall of Famer, but Max Clark isn't? What utter madness is this? You were a terrible first baseman. You're an awful fielder in every stretch of the imagination. You were an amazing on base guy, and you stole a lot of bases. Okay, if you're stealing that many bases, maybe it's worth it, but I don't see how Max Clark, who is better at all of those things and also a great defender, doesn't make it over him. You could also both of them make it. That would also be an acceptable answer, but $20 million a year for Phil Savage is redonkulous. It is literally something I cannot take seriously. Thinking of Phil Savage is like, yes, $20 million. Absolutely. No. Granted, I don't think any reliever's worth $20 million, except for maybe like peak Mariano Rivera at the height of his abilities, maybe. Flores is going to be an absolutely incredible pitcher. Look at this frame. 6'8". He's barely hitting 94. No, he's gonna be special. I will give you my entire bonus pool if you would please join us in Charlotte. I know we'll never get to play with him, but the idea of getting a pitcher with his raw tools is just so tantalizing. And we got him already. That's awesome. This is the kind of pitcher that comes around once in a very long time. All of his skills are on point. He only has 3 pitches. I guess that's kind of sus. But he's got great stamina. I love this for us. I absolutely love it. 10,000%. You still have money for me to use. I guess I could use it, but it would have to be something like a top tier outfielder. Is the only thing I think I'd be willing to spend on. Santiago Cato is not that kind of player that interests me to that degree. Augustus Gustav. Could you imagine a more German name? I certainly couldn't. Yeah, this is all a bunch of garbage. East garbage. I did not know that about Kate Horton. What a guy. What an absolute unit. What a legend. Mm. All right. Some nice improvements from guys that aren't making the roster at all. I do feel like this season could be a bit disappointing, potentially. I feel like our top line offensive talent, we're relying an awful lot on our outfielder to come back and be ready to go. Uh, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it does concern me. It does mean that our ceiling is necessarily limited, especially when, look, I love Pat Martinez. I don't know that he can do this every year. Maybe he can. Maybe I'm horribly wrong. He's going to be an all-star in every sense of the word as a catcher. But I don't know that he will be. Um Lozada is absolutely key. If Lozada can have a great spring and really put himself a step forward, he could be the missing link. He could be this additional piece that just puts the fear of God in every other team. Um, he is a potential latter day Sergio Zapata. And I say that without a shred of hyperbole. I think he is that good. Maybe. Possibly. And nobody else really deserves spring training spot. Okie dokie. And Shunia will not be back by opening day. We knew that. We knew that. Dan Sutton is back. Jorge Armenta will be back very soon. So let's be about it. Let's see what this team can do here in spring training. Lozada didn't get better, but he didn't get worse either. I guess I can accept that. All right, let's go. I think we will go as far as our rotation will carry us. I will be pleasantly surprised that the lineup has a great season. It's going to come down to Carrillo and Carmona and Ayala and the rest. They're all going to have to work together. And especially a not inconsiderable amount of concern is also on the left arm of Daniel Roca. Um, I I gave him a new contract because I think he could be that guy, but he's got to earn it. He absolutely has to earn it, and he's got to be one of the better pitchers in the league to be worthy of my consideration. He's just a little guy. Yes, see, right now he's obsessed with using Roca as a lefty killer. He is making far too much money to be a lefty killer. I need you to start using him more regularly. It's not even like, I mean, I guess he does have a split, but it's not as dramatic as it seems. I don't know. Maybe I got heckin' bamboozled. It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time. I am also a little bit concerned about our bullpen. I think we let a lot of experienced arms go. And while I do think we added some pretty high quality ones, I think there's also a certain amount of risk. Also, Garrett Morris hitting so many home runs concerns you because it concerns you that they're benching Pat Moore or Pat Martinez or Garrett Morris, which can't be the case, right? Like that would be the height of stupidity. Okay, yeah, Pat Martinez is playing every day. Okay, good. All right, let's make the easy choices first. Who's going to the IL? TJ Lampman, get out of here. And Chundia, get out of here. Oh shit, did I just fuck myself? Yeah, I did. I wasn't paying attention. It didn't, because it only lets. Yeah, stupid. I just cost myself basically a month of his season because I wasn't paying attention when I put him on the IL. That was super dumb. I have regrets. Birdford to the minors, Fuentes to the minors, Osborne to the minors, Rena to the minors. How many pitches is it leaving with? 15, which means okay, one of them. Okay, three of these are pitcher players pretending to be pitchers. I think we will solve this issue ourselves. Um, so that's your opening day bullpen. I'd kind of rather Armenta start, but I'm fine to let him stretch out his arm in the major leagues since he didn't get as much time to pitch last year. I'm fine to just let him pitch in the bullpen, get some experience, and then pop into the rotation when he's needed. All right. 38 players. We've got to send 13 to the minors. Okay, Jeff Scott minors. Bachman minors. Davis minors. Garabay minors. Rivera minors. Padilla minors. Delliston minors. We're not trying to start Jeffrey Craig, are we? No, we're making him into a long ball reliever. Wedlow to the minors. Kabia's got quite a little bat on him. I'm willing to give him an opportunity that I wouldn't give to Moncada. Um, I can only keep one of Welcher, Craig, and Bandon. And I think it's gonna be Bandon. I've got to say goodbye to one more infielder. Actually, two infielders, potentially. Or an infielder and an outfielder, which actually seems more realistic. Of my remaining outfielders, I think Mr. Fraction here is the odd man out. I don't really see keeping him around, so we sent him back home. It's either him or Bandon. The problem is nobody else in this on this team can play center. So if Tim Wood got hurt, I wouldn't have a center fielder that I could trust on the major league roster. Maybe that's fine. Maybe I just leave Bandon in the minors, and maybe somebody else picks up center field for fun. I think Scanandori can play center, can he? I guess he can't. Never mind. Among the infielders, I feel like Sexton is the most fungible. Then again, maybe he isn't. Maybe it's Scanandori? Scanandori actually had a really good year pitching for us last season. I think that's earned him a roster spot that he wouldn't otherwise get, and Sexton goes to the minors. This feels okay. This feels like the right decision. This feels like the kind of thing we can get behind and seeing what we can accomplish. I need Lozada to be big. I need him to grow quickly. But the most important thing I need from him is I need him to be an on base machine. I think the biggest issue we had last season is we weren't able to get on base consistently enough. And I think Lozada is definitely a tonic to that. Batting him fifth is a choice. Batting Cito first is a choice. I don't know that I agree with either of those decisions, but I'm willing to let it ride for now. This has potential to be a terrifyingly good lineup. But for right now, we just have to see what we can accomplish. If we're successful this season, it's going to be because of three people: Carrillo, Carmona, and Ayala. And maybe Chris Wilson. Wilson is such a good reliever. We're getting Daniel Roque as a proper lefty, which makes me excited. I'm glad to see that. Let's go. Let's baseball, friends. Let's see friends and family. I highly doubt that any of my family watches my videos. My wife is subscribed to the channel, but I know she's never watched a single video, and I wouldn't ask her to. Baseball is not really her jam. I mean, she likes baseball. Okay, I guess. Holy shit. Amari Kabi has 4 home runs already. Damn. How did that happen? Arturo Ayala losing velocity makes me sad. What if he didn't do that? What if he gained velocity? What if he could throw baseball so hard it tore a hole in space-time? I'm not saying it's what I actually expect, but I'm saying it would be awfully nice if he could. Yeah, the man only has 10 hits and 4 of them are home runs. That feels like a pretty great start to your to your major league career. Was it all one game or is he spreading it out some? Let's start in March 24th, I think was opening day. That seems right. Yeah. Nope, he's spreading the love. He got 2 home runs in one game, and then another home run in another game, and another home run in the third game. So yeah. That's good stuff. I'm not gonna look at any stats yet. We need to just play the games, see how people are doing, and then come to some decisions. Beginning in May. It isn't going to take a lot for us to be an amazing team. It's just going to take a little bit of luck and a lot of growth from some key players, in my opinion. Classic Dane Sutton. Classic. I will call up. Um, like the answer I'm supposed to say is Jimmy Osborne, right? Like that's what I'm supposed to say. It could be Jeffrey Craig, I guess. I mean, Jeffrey Craig is fine. I don't want him starting, but I'm presuming Armenta gets the starting spot. Yeah, which is what I expected. I'm fine with that. We're not really getting blown out, which means the pitching is doing its best. We're just not scoring consistently enough to take over. We're going to definitely look at how things are going and see if there's anything we can do about it. It's so early in the season, though. Anyone can have a cold month. Amari Cabia seems like a keeper. I mean, 352 batting average for a first full season in the major leagues is pretty amazing. Number one pitcher, Juan Monroy. Why do I care about him? Oh, I think you were one of the guys I was trying to sign. It looks like I was unsuccessful. Kabi got Rookie of the Month. He's having himself a pretty damn good season. I am perfectly happy about that. Josh Welcher hit for the cycle. Nice. What are we looking at here? How are things going? Okay. Stop batting him lead off. Just stop. I mean, no. You know what? He bats seventh. All the fucking time. Stop batting him lead off. I beg of you. I know he is fast. That is not what you're looking for in a modern leadoff guy. He's got to get on base. And the fact that he is drawing walks, I guess, but he's not putting the bat on the ball consistent to be a leadoff guy. So stop doing that. Joe Bach and Ramiro Figueroa are both off to really ice cold starts. I'm hopeful that with just a little bit of time, they'll both heat up. Amari Kabi has been a revelation. There's a very realistic chance that he gets to keep his job, even with Enchundia being healthy, which is not something I saw happening when I traded for him and gave him a contract extension. But I think that's realistic. I think Dave Jeske needs to start pitching better. He needs to not like walk everybody and give up home runs like they're going out of style. So how would you stop doing that, my friend? Just get everybody out. It's as simple as that. Every single solitaire and Roka's already back to pitching as a specialist. I don't know why the game hates him, but I can't be bothered to fight with it right now. I do think getting Cito off of the leadoff spot is going to be a big difference here. Andy Gillens is out for 5 weeks, which is a good time to bring back in Shundia, which you will do here very shortly. Um, while we wait, let's bring back Jesus Moncada. But I think Amari Cabia has actually like earned himself a job, and not fucking Armenta's hurt. Oh, don't worry, Abby. You're going to be perfectly fine. You have a very deep rotation. Who could possibly keep getting hurt? This fucking game sometimes, I swear. Let's call up Jimmy Osborne, I guess. maybe. I don't feel great about it. If Armenta has any kind of setback, I think there's a very realistic chance we add a starting pitcher. I think there's a very high probability chance. All right, Dan Sutton is ready to come back, which means the end of Jimmy Osborne. Sorry, mate. I'm not actually that sorry. Get out of here. So this presents an interesting dilemma. Amari Kabia is nuclear hot, and even though he is cooling down, I feel like he's the one mega bright spot. David Lozada having a fantastic season of his own. I mean, I could send on Jeffrey Craig, but my problem is I think the ad would probably play Anchundia, even if he doesn't deserve it. And I don't want to do that. I don't want Anchundia to play if either of my younger guns is ready to go. So, we're going to go ahead and stash him in the minors and see what happens from there. Darren Heil leading the league in OPS. Good things are happening to this lineup this season. It's just maybe a little bit inconsistent. Armenta's ready to come back. Amazing. Jeffrey Craig, get out of here. Go take a walk. Looks like Dan Sutton's hurt again already, so I don't anticipate there being too many issues with having both play pitchers on the roster. In retrospect, we should have shut down Dan Sutton being a catcher much earlier than we did. I think that was a very foolish decision that we made. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying we made. I'm the one who made it. I gotta own my shit. Chris Lee is getting better. Nice. Feared Yevak Rijala is getting better. Lovely. High quality baseballing. Danny Wedlow's not a center fielder. He's not. He's still a good player. Still glad that we have him, but he's not a. Morikazu Morinaga is becoming pretty impressive. That is redonkulous for him to be throwing that hard. That's wild. It is the most wild. It's a pretty good month. A really good month. Okay. I feel like Figueroa is a real weakness in this lineup. Yeah, he is easily one of the worst players in the major leagues. Like, I'm not saying that Julio Garibay is going to be the next great player, but he's infinitely better than 33-year-old Ramiro Figueroa. Does anybody want him? And what are they willing to trade for him? I can get an overpriced first baseman or an average first baseman. I'm just going to cut him. Like, I have the money. I don't see a purpose in keeping him around when he very clearly cannot perform anymore. There ain't nothing left, Jack. Do we call up Garibay, or is this the time for Sam Sexton to make his triumphant return? It's probably not time for. It probably is time for Sexton to come back. Actually, I think that's probably fine. Damn. We suspended. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna let the AI sort it out. I'm gonna send down Moncada and we're gonna call up Anchundia. He's too good a hitter to sit on the bench, which means they might bench Kavia, which if they do, they do. But I think it makes us a better team. I think we have to just soak it up. And we just have to deal with it. Um, yeah. Any Jones is eligible to come back. You can rehab. Probably. Does anybody want Gillens? Is that a name that intrigues anybody? I mean, Kim's not a very good shortstop, but he is an okay hitter. I'm willing to make this trade just to save some money. It's not like Andy Gillens got lost. The problem is he just isn't that good anymore, and there isn't a room for him on this team anymore. I had such incredibly nuclear high hopes for Gillens after his initial few seasons, and then he just died. He went from being one of the best players in the league to being okay. And when we have a pretty deep outfield, I think we made the right choice. Dane is the main of lamps. Who should I send down for him? Is Nate Flora pitching especially well? No, he's pitching pretty poorly. Let's get Lampman back. Lampman, na 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 Lampman. We have two captains that are pretty good dudes. Apparently, we don't like Dan Sutton though. Hmm. Hmm. Curious. Curiosity. Embalmed the cat, maybe. Probably not, though. That seems unlikely. This season is going pretty good. I feel reasonably chuffed by it. I think we're playing with Juan Cerda is extremely highly ranked. Isn't that the guy I just signed? No, I got him last year. Hey, I'll take it. I will take that shit. Let's make sure that everybody sticks around, just for fun. Um, pardon me. Excuse me. We're keeping Denis Fortier, and we're keeping the current manager. Damn, really? You guys just make so much money, and you make more than me. When I am the reason the Silver Wolves are as good as they are. Man, I should be a diva and be like, no, bitch, if you don't give me twice as much as the manager, I fucking walk. That would be the power move. Maybe. It's fine. I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love the game. One of the things I've noticed since really pushing the channel is that I don't play OTP outside of the channel anymore. Um, there's just so many other amazing games. Like I seriously spend a not insignificant percentage of my free time playing video games, and the problem is it just keep having great games keep coming out. Playing Avowed, I'm enjoying that quite a lot. Um, Civ 7 is awesome. Um, Civ 7 is really, really good. Uh, I can't stress that enough. Is it my favorite Civilization game of all time? I don't think that's a fair statement because Civ 2 means so much to me because it's the first Civ game I ever played, so it will always hold a special place in my heart. And I have genuinely enjoyed every Civ game that I played except for Civ 4. I remember being terribly enamored by Civ 4. Not that it was bad, I just think I was one of the people that loved Civ 3. And so when 4 came out, I was kind of like, eh. But 7 is up there, man. 7 is quite good. Oh, who did we get to the All-Star game? Ayala and Carrillo, and Wilson, and Heil, and Pat Martinez. That's pretty good. Pretty good. And then it's draft time. But yeah, so Civ 7 is really good. I will put it on the channel 100%. If I do a cheeky little check of something really quickly, I want to see how much longer you guys are getting Slay the Spire to satisfy my curiosity. Yeah. I am getting distracted. My apologies. Let me... what I'm checking on now is to see when I might be able to show Civ 7 on this channel. Satisfyer wraps up on Monday. So possibly as soon as March 17th, with the caveat that I might actually do 2 OTP series. I really want to do another tutorial series. I think that was a lot of fun when I did it the first time. And I think a lot of people got a lot out of it. To this day, they're still some of my most viewed videos. So I think that it's a real possibility of having 2 OTP series. Because I want to do the White Sox as a regular series for fans of the channel and everyone. But then I also kind of really want to do the tutorial series. Let me know what you think of the comments. Let me know if that sounds like something that would make you excited. Spence Haynes is a lefty. A good mix of pitches. Not very expensive. Good stamina. Velocity is a little bit sus, but he's a lefty, so it's less important. Maybe. Jeremy Baggio sounds like I want Craig Biggio. We have Craig Biggio at home. He's actually a really good pitcher too. Super Baggio Brothers. Damn. Is Bubba Court also incredible? Bubba Court is good, but he's not incredible. He's a really good corner outfielder, which I value, but doesn't really do much for me. Do I want the lefty or do I want the righty? The righty has a ton of pitches and has high adaptability and work ethic. If Spence Haynes falls to the second round, I will draft him. Oh my goodness, excuse me. But I think Baggio is the better choice. For one big reason, this. I think raw tools-wise, they're very comparable. I do like that Baggio has 5 pitches, whereas Haynes only has 4. And I especially like the fact that he's got really great stuff potential. He's going to striking people out like it's nobody's business. And if you can strike people out, you can pitch in this league. So I think Mr. Baggio is our draft pick. I know there's no way that Haynes made it back to me, but Court did make it back to me. And Court is somebody I'm interested in. I think he's got some really solid offensive tools. I think he's a perfectly fine outfielder if you keep him in the corners. Yeah, I think he's a good fit. I think we take him. I think we take his demand and be grateful. Jake Colazzo is a really decent offensive prospect. I think I'm okay with drafting him. Unless. Unless there's a Dane Jackson type. This man has incredible raw power. And enough rest of his game that he can make that power work. I think we take Dane Jackson and we don't overthink it. Because here's the thing, the Juan Mendozas and Jay Colazzos of the world will still be around. Um, I question his defense. And in the infield, I don't ever want somebody who's got a high error rate. For second baseman, I can punt on an arm. I'm not that concerned about him having an amazing ability to throw hard or turn double plays, but I'm concerned about his range. His actual profiles as a good third baseman, actually. But I think I'd rather have Colazzo if I'm choosing between those two. Plus, Steve Simpson is secretly a great center fielder, which he's not. He is a good player, but I think Colazzo is better. So we're going to go after it. We're going to take Mr. Colazzo here and say, what if we gave you money? You want $12 million? I will pay you $12 million. I'm not saying he's going to be the next amazing baseball player, but I'm saying he could be. And it's only money. And that's something that I have plenty of. I guess we take Steve Simpson too. I will happily take all of the high quality outfielders that we can get our hands on. Eddie Farley. The control is a concern. It is a concern. But the rest of his package is very tantalizing. He works hard. He's got a great mix of pitches, all of which are plus or better. I think he's worth taking a flyer on. He even wants no money. What a champ. I will take Andre Cerui and not be upset at all. I think he's a solid all-around player. I don't know that he's necessarily a great shortstop, but he's better at errors, and I'm more willing to give him a shot than I would be the other guy we were looking at earlier. So yeah, let's offer him a sack of cash. Okay. Jeff Hankin is uninteresting to me. He's an okay bat without a position. He's bad at every position that he can play. I'm not saying that couldn't change, but I'm saying his bat isn't special enough to take the risk. Greg Jordan hits ball far, but that's his only offensive skill. Sean Moreno's not terribly thrilling. I like CJ Duncan okay, just not a lot. Jim Hobgood is fine. Kevin Murdrow is actually pretty decent. Like, none of these are bad players. It's just none of them really stand out to me as being, yes, this is my dude. Let's take Sean Moreno, I guess. I'm not happy about it, but I don't have a better choice either. And I think we're at the point now, because sections I'm not playing past this season, I'm going to go ahead and auto draft the rest of the draft. I think that's fair. And Bobby Hanlon wants a small sum of money. I'm willing to give him that. There's almost never, assuming you have the money, right? Assuming you have the money, you should almost never not sign a prospect, in my opinion. Um, no, maybe don't spend like $2 million on a guy who's got 30 potential, but maybe he has something extra that you should trust your scouts about. But there's other ways to save money, like constantly having shortstop with fractured feet. I almost said fractured foots, and I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Hey, Susur, if you could play any position other than third base, I would call you up right now. I think we'll call up Garibay. Garibay can play second, third, and short fairly well, and I don't know whether he's going to start, but he looks at least like he has some upside to him. We'll give him a shot. But yeah, there's just so many other ways to make payroll that nickeling and diming on draft prospects is the kind of thing that gets, is the kind of thing that puts bad teams in a death spiral. Always pay your rookies, in my opinion. Um, yes, that don't always pan out, but you're not going to get the kind of player you can get from the amateur draft anywhere else for that little money. Cincinnati wants Garrett Morris. But you're giving me poop. That is a big coiled steaming turd if you thought I would ever take that kind of trade for Morris. I don't want to trade Morris at all. But if I'm going to trade Morris, it's going to be somebody that actually makes a genuine improvement on the team. Nate Kellogg is a pretty decent reliever. I'm listening. Luis Padina isn't that interesting. Chris here is acceptable. Amari Kabi is still playing. He's still playing well. I don't think that is an answer to a question. Unless the question is, Gah? What do I want? What am I looking for in this draft? I do think a reliever might be nice. I do think having another shutdown reliever would be welcome. An everyday shortstop maybe. Although Rody Bomers has already taken over pretty famously. I mean, stopping hurts before. A reliable starting second baseman would be lovely. Would be a good thing to have. Um, Juan Carmona looks really bad because ERA is super high. He's actually pitching quite well. I think he's lost velocity. No, he lost velocity a while ago. Never mind. Yeah. This just is who he is. This just is who he is. It's not sensible to get worked up about it. If I look at his FIP, his Fippity Doodah, Fippity A, does it look like defense is victimizing him? Yeah, he should look better than he does. It seems like he's got a fair few unearned runs. Are we struggling as a team defensively? We're not great. What is the problem? I mean, it's Rody Bomers, which is disappointing. Yeah, it's not really the errors. I think it's parts of David Lazat. David Lazat is a pretty terrible outfielder. When you hit it like this, I accept it, but it is worth noting that is a problem for him. Um, Joe Bach is okay. I think it's more we don't have as many elite defenders other than Tim Wood, who is fucking incredible. Tim Wood is really, really good, and the fact that he's hitting right around league average just makes him better. It just makes him better. So okay. Maybe Cremona's had some bad luck with defense. The team looks pretty solid otherwise. Dave Jeske as reliever isn't something that I think I want, but I'm willing to listen. And I think we definitely probably want to get ourselves another impact arm in the bullpen. I think that's the real moneymaker here. That's really what gets me excited about our chances to return to the postseason. So starting second baseman of high quality and and maybe a reliever is what we're in the market for. Alejandro Encinios, no thank you. Cameron Smedley, not saying he's not a great pitcher. Don't have need for him. Josh Heights can't play anywhere but third and first, which I don't need. Nate King is really good defensively. I don't see much in his bat to get excited about, so I'm not going to bother acquiring Nate King. I don't feel strongly about that. Joe Howard's not that good. Juan Mojica is not a second baseman. Yeah, there's just like a bunch of like average relievers that I'm not willing to spend anything significant for. I would trade for Ernie Summers. I do think Ernie Summers is a little bit better than what we've got rocking at second base right now. Mr. Summers, what do I need to trade in order to acquire you? Surprisingly little. Yeah, Campbell's a reliever anyway. This is an easy choice. Back to the minors, Sexton. You had your chance. Ernie, show us some second base amazingness. Yeah, I just don't see anything else that interests me in this trade deadline. I don't think what I'm looking for, which is a really good reliever. I mean, we could bring Mike Boardman back. He's never really been the same since he left our bosom, but I don't think that works for me. Yeah, Eric Corbett's not that great anymore. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the impact on that I'm looking for. So I think we just maybe skip another couple of sims, see what people are thinking, then we just end the trade deadline. Juan Torres is pretty bad. Yeah, not gonna happen. Sorry, guys. So there's some kind of lousy offers that were given to me. Was this a great deadline? Not really. Um, I really wanted to add another armor in the bullpen, and I think that's something that is going to concern me down the stretch here. I do think our new second baseman does give us it does give us a bit more flexibility at the position. I would like Julio Garibay to take over, but I also want that veteran presence he can lean on until he's ready to until he's ready to play full time. That is a thing that I believe. Okay. Joe Bach got Player of the Week. Nice. He really is low key one of the better players on this roster. I feel like he maybe doesn't get enough credit for his actual talent, but he's been really good for us. Like, very, very good. I know he got Rookie of the Year, but I still think it's important to acknowledge the fact that he has been a really solid player for us. Um, and at a position I didn't expect. Um, I did not expect getting a player like him that late in the draft. Another tip I'd give any new player to any OOTP Park Baseball game is don't draft for need. Baseball doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Very, very few baseball players are ready to go in the majors the season that they're drafted. They all of them take some level of percolation. So you're going to want to get the player that has the best skills and then let position battles sort themselves out. Mr. Cito, I'm going to go ahead and have you rehab, and then we'll call you up when rosters expand. Darren Heil, second in home runs. We'd love to see that. Arturo Ayala having a breakout season on the mound has been just such a delight. Especially in a year where Carmona is struggling even more than usual. Ayala being like top tier is just really exciting. Jorge Armenta having an amazing opening to his career is great too. These are things that I'd love to see. Look, we're getting a lot out of rookies this season. I don't think that's being appreciated enough. Um, Lozada, rookie, having a great season. Not a perfect season, a lot of room to grow, but a great season. Um, Jorge Armenta having a fantastic season. Like, this is a really special pitching season for a rookie. We got some nice upgrades in the bullpen this offseason. There's a lot to love about this team. I wish you were better at base running, I guess. I guess that's one thing I could claim. But, yeah. We've already clinched a playoff spot. I think we're going to clinch the AL East any day now. I want to keep playing hard, though. We actually have a chance to get the first round bye if we can hold off the Astros. I'm not saying we can either, but I'm saying it would be cool if we did. We actually play the Astros. That's so clutch. Okay, we've already clinched home field. Even if we lose to Houston, this game is effectively meaningless. We did it, you guys. We did it. All right. Let's chat about the things. Postseason roster, I agree with most of this. We're not leaving Enchundia off the roster. That's fucking stupid, especially for Zaire Fraction. I don't think so, guys. We keep Enchundia for sure. I want another outfielder pretty badly. I'm gonna take no, I'm not gonna take a pitcher off. I think that's short sighted in the extreme. I'm gonna leave Garibay off of the postseason roster, and I'm gonna bring along probably Josh Welcher actually. If Jorge Bandon is hurt and can't play center field, I guess Jeffrey Craig would also work. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. We're gonna sim to the next round. So will I play any baseball games? For one very specific reason. If we get to either the ALCS or the World Series, and we're like get to a game 7, I will play that game. Otherwise, I probably won't because it is already getting kind of long. But that's my plan. That is L plan. We're gonna play the next playoff round because we got the first round bye, which is awesome. I love that for me. Tampa, Houston, and okay, people are retiring. Wait, Josh Welcher's retiring? Damn, son. You had like okay potential. Like you had a chance to make the majors. That actually is kind of shocking that he decided to retire. Hmm. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, we sim these games one at a time for maximum drama. It's Creo versus Bell. Ooh, Creo got lit up. That's no bueno. I mean, lit up is relative. Bell was just better. It's actually Dan Sutton that was the real issue. Dan Sutton got his ass hammered, which was not welcome. Damn, guys, I don't think we have to worry about making the ALCS this year. Yeah, we just got obliterated. Like, it wasn't even close. Yikes. Well, that's ending a series with the whimperiest of whimpers, for sure. Damn. We'll break down the season here. And then I want to advance up to the end of award season. And then we're going to just do a nice little retrospective and think about players who played for the Silver Wolves, how we got to where we got, and what lessons we could learn from the future. So yeah, damn. Our pitching fucked us, which is utterly shocking to me. Ernie Jarvis didn't die for this. Ernie Jarvis isn't dead, but that's really bummer. Like I was convinced the lineup would let us down, but it wasn't the lineup at all. It was the rotation that really screwed up. See, Astros and the Giants. Okay, I'm listening. I have the Civ 7 menu music stuck in my head now. I should never have mentioned it. A curse has befallen me. I mean, I am an OOTP genius. We've established that, but thank you for the validation, I suppose. Um, we opt out of this contract super hard. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but this is not a charity. Fuck off. If he wants to come back, we'll talk, but I am not giving him that much money. That's a recipe for stupidity. Um, just for the lulz, I want to see what his salary demands look like if we did decide to keep Carmona. how does that look? He wants even more money. So, yeah, we will not be paying him that. I would offer him the qualifying offer. We're just going to sit forward up until the end of the award season. We'll go up to the Hall of Fame voting. No, you know what we'll do? We'll go up to Hall of Fame voting. I'm going to put this on Do Not Disturb. And let the AI make decisions. Because I really want a chance to see if any of our other players make the Hall of Fame. Oh no, before we do anything else, let's break down the current season. I don't want to take a chance at doing something stupid like cutting somebody for the fun of it. Alright. Darren Heil was amazing. And I know we're probably tired of saying that. This is already a man who's already won an MVP award. And he came in second twice. He's really fucking good. Like, he is an excellent baseball player. And for a sixth rounder to be this good shows how good we are at drafting. Great season. Love it. No real complaints. He's even a top quality defender at first base, which is lovely. Like, that's a good thing. Tim Wood was our second best player. And it wasn't terribly close. Because he's an artiste defensively. Playing this many innings, only making one error, and having this kind of range is just ridiculous. And to top all that off, he's not worthless with the bat. He's got weaknesses. He strikes out way too much. Way too much. But he's a damn fine player, and I'm glad that we have him. Joe Buck, the Chicken Man, had a pretty good season too. I mean, Pat Martinez was never going to have as good a year as he did last year, but he still had a pretty okay year. Yeah. Rhodey the Bomer. Look, a guy, if he hits 300, he's going to have a great season. That's just how he is. The problem is you can't count on him to hit 300. But he had a good season, and he handled himself okay. Not flawlessly, but okay. David Lozada looks like a keeper. Leading the league in on-base percentage as a rookie is crazy enough, but to think that there's more here. This isn't peak Lozada by any stretch. Peak Lozada takes everything you see here and adds another 10 to 15 home runs on top of it. A wonderful, wonderful player. A truly special player. Over the moon about him. Amari Kabia, one of the nicest stories of the year. I did not expect this. I did not expect a guy to come out here, hit 20 home runs, hit 311, draw plenty of walks. Good stuff from Kabia. Ernie Summers wasn't anything special, but he was okay. He was alright. This is what a guy like Enchundia is meant to be doing. Drawing lots of walks, hitting for average, and maybe going yard a few times. He should be doing more, but this is okay. This is fine. Poor Scanandori. He's a pretty decent pitcher, which is why we keep him around. But he's not a very good position player. But I bet the pitching was important once again. Is that right? Am I correct in this segment? Sergio fucking Creer led the league in WAR again. He just keeps getting away with it. I think he's going to win another Cy Young Award. I truly believe that. But let's on the side of the real big story in the rotation, Arturo Ayala. He struck out way fewer people. Like, his strikeouts dropped precipitously. But he kept the ball down, didn't walk as many people, and just didn't get hit as hard. So even though maybe, yes, he wasn't the strikeout machine, he's turned himself into a very fine pitcher, and he pitched very, very well. Jorge Armenta, what a rookie season. I think if anyone is a threat to Lozada winning Rookie of the Year, it's probably Armenta. We're going 10-3 your rookie season with a 2.19 ERA. It's a sign that you know how to pitch. And there's more here too. I think he's a better strikeout pitcher than we give him credit for. Replacing Carmona won't be easy. But I can't justify paying $40 million to a pitcher that isn't worth $40 million. So, win, lose, or draw, we're going to be moving on from Carmona. I don't know what to do about Dan Sutton at this point. I truly don't know what to do about him. When he pitches, he's effective. The problem is he can't stay healthy. It is not possible for him to stay healthy. And so a long-term commitment to him would be catastrophically stupid. Wilson had a great season. Daniel Roca, what did I say? Give him more opportunities. He's going to impress you. He impressed me. The pen was really good. I still think Dave Jeske is better in the rotation, and he's going to get another chance with Carmona gone. But if he turns into an amazing reliever and we just don't pay a lot for him, I'm okay with that too. But this is a really good team that won 102 games. It's hard to be too judgmental. Not Juan Montenegro. Oh, I see. That's the AI claiming people. Whatever, man. I don't even fucking care. Claim anyone your heart desires. But, yeah, it's hard for me to say that I'm not enthusiastic about how that season went. I do think some more secondary scoring would have really helped us out a lot. But look, the rotation is what the team was built on. The rotation is what crapped out in the division series, so it be like that sometimes. It be like that. But Carrillo just has Carrillo is more dominating than Ernie Jarvis was even at his peak. It's almost like I'm not saying I would have this caliber of pitcher, but I think a good comparison in my head is Tom Glavine versus Greg Maddux. Like, I know Tom Glavine won 300 games. I know that is a thing that happened. He won 300 games. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that he's a bad pitcher. Who the fuck is this? Oh, we're just signing stupid people for no reason. Cool story, bro. But Jarvis was a classic compiler like Glavine. He didn't have the peak like a Greg Maddux did. I picked them both because they both pictured the Braves. So there's a lot of similarities there. I will vote for Fish, I guess. I'm not opposed to Fish. Oh, Chris Cram retired. What a long career he had. That's all you can ask for, right? Like, all you can ask for is just being good enough to keep being brought back. If I had my druthers, I would put Andy Giacoletto in the Charlotte Silver Wolves Hall of Fame first ballot. I don't know that he's worthy of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And we'll talk about him a little bit in just a moment. Yep. I want to see who, if anybody, makes the Hall of Fame, and then we will shift completely into other stuff mode. I had a lot of fun playing Silver Wolves. Thank you once again, and you'll have to forgive me, to the wonderful person who came up with the logo for us. I think it's really exciting, and I like it a lot. But I just like playing with this team. I like expansion teams. I think expansion teams are a fun way to get involved because you don't have... You basically start with nothing. And if you can build an expansion team to a point where it's successful, I think you're really doing something right in out of the park baseball. Um, I don't know that I'd expect a newbie to just dive right in with an expansion team and have a lot of success because you will struggle the first few seasons. You won't have the deep. Mm, you won't have the deep minor leagues that an established team would have, and so you don't have that ready source of replacement. Juan Carmona made $64 million. I wonder how many years that's for. We'll find out. Good lord, game, come on now. So yeah, so let me know in the comments, by the way, if you want me to do another Baseball 101 tutorial series. Um, I'd probably pick the Guardians, and just walk through what baseball is, walk through how OOTP works, and things of that nature. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. Um, but the Friday series is set in stone. The Friday series is going to be the White Sox. We're going to try to win the World Series as quickly as we can, and then see where we're at. If it takes just a couple of seasons, then we'll stick around with them for a while. But if not, we might do something else. Um, hmm. I say this every season. I would like for us to spend less time in a given save. I think that'll keep the series feeling fresher and make people feel happier. How much did Carmona make? Yeah, Carmona signed for a lot less. I would have kept him if I could have gotten that kind of deal. Where are all of the awards? I refuse to accept that we won no awards, so I will be looking back at that. Max Clark, Jackson Chorio, and Wyatt Langford all made the Hall of Fame. Jacques Little's down to 13%. Womp womp. Oh well. Let's look at awards, and then we'll talk about how things went. All right, we're gonna skip, back. All right. AL Best Defenders. Tim Wood got a Gold Glove, and so did Darren Heil. Nice. Reliever Chris Wilson again. Brilliant. Silver Slugger for Darren Heil and nobody else. Armenta, Lozada, and Cabia all split the vote. I'm not sure that I would have voted for Quim Condexia. I think, honestly, I would have voted for Armenta. That would have been my choice. And it looks like 10 other teams agreed with me. I didn't think Lozada had a chance. And I knew that Cabia didn't have a chance. I mean, I'm not upset that Armenta in a second. I just don't think Condexia is that special. Like, he's fine. He's not a bad player, but he's not that great either. Astros got Manager of the Year. This I strongly disagree with. Although, again, it looks like teammates split votes. I don't think this should have been a cakewalk for Devon White. I know, well, I guess he led the league in ERA and strikeouts. I guess he was a pretty good pitcher, but Creo was better. That's just how it be. Darren Heil took second again in the MVP voting. That genuinely surprises me. Sergio Salas was clearly the better player. Clearly better. And he also was better on the bases and played elite defense. I think Salas should have been unanimous with a bullet. But all right. So what are we looking at here? What kind of team were the Charlotte Silver Wolves? 2025, we lost 94 games. And these are your Charlotte Silver Wolves. This is a lot of players who weren't very good. George Valera, remember him? We got him in the expansion draft, and we got like 3 good seasons out of him before he sucked. Um, there's not a lot to like about this lineup. That's for sure. Pitching Abner Uribe, remember him as one of the best relievers we ever had. That was pretty exciting stuff. Just kind of a mid-season though. We were worse in 26. We were much worse in 26. We lost 100 games. Um, because George Valera got worse when your team only has one offensive player and he plays worse, you struggle. Tanner Hoke was an okay rotation piece. Everyone else was mid. It is no shock that we lost 100 games that season. These are kind of the dark ages of the Silver Wolves, where year in and year out we just weren't competitive. Although we got closer and closer to 500. Bo Naylor was one of our first big finds, one of our first players that really stuck around for a while, and we got some good stuff out of. But a lot of these guys aren't that impressive. Pitching wise, Tanner Hoke was great again. We really struggled with pitching though. I think that was probably one of our most consistent issues in the early years. We just couldn't get the pitching we needed to make the team competitive. Then we backslid in 2028. However, note a young Andy Giacoletto got his first playing time. Not an auspicious start to his career, but, you know, not bad either. Pitching wise, again, nothing too exciting here. We're mostly just waiting for the really great pitchers to show up. We're waiting to try to get those extra pieces to make us competitive. 2029 is the last objectively bad season we ever had with the Silver Wolves. It's Andy Giacoletto breaking out. He did win Rookie of the Year, which was highly well deserved. Look at this rookie season. Look at that. 34 steals, 12 home runs, 299, 378 on base percentage. Oh, by the way, a pretty damn good shortstop. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that for a rookie player. And so Andy Giacoletto was our first star. This is also the season we signed Gunnar Henderson, who has a Charlotte Silverwolves cap, I will remind you, in the Hall of Fame. So, a really good first season for us, but really the best was yet to come. He just played really fucking well every season until the end. We didn't get his best season. That came with Baltimore. But he made us legitimate. Gunnar Henderson was, in a very realistic way, kind of the heart and soul of us. Talk about rookies with inauspicious beginnings. Hi, Ernie Jarvis. Arnie Jarvis was... I did not expect him to be as good as he was. And he was just so utterly dependable. From the moment he picked up a ball to the moment he retired, he was utterly dependable. He just gave us lots of innings, didn't give up many home runs, had a great strike to walkout ratio, and oh my god, his postseason career. When we needed him, he was always there in the postseason. 268 innings of 271 ERA, 19 wins, only 9 losses. He was really good. And I think that's something, it's hard to capture that, right? That is very difficult to capture in a player. It's hard to figure out who's going to be great in the postseason. You just have to try to pick lots of players and hope they for the best. Never won the Cy Young Award. He had three top three finishes, but never won the Cy Young Award, which I find kind of surprising. But very humble beginnings. Bubba Chandler, remember when he used to be like, oh man, Bubba Chandler, he's so rock solid. And then he wasn't. So 2029 was the end of the lean years. Then an unbroken streak of postseason appearances for 20 years. 21 years, actually. 21 years. And that's awesome. Like, this is probably the number I'm the most proud of. 21 postseason appearances. Yes, 5 World Series titles. That's huge. But I think 21 consecutive postseason appearances is just something that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And 2030 was the first year that we really saw that there might be something special in this franchise. A Chocolate, a ridiculous year. The other of our four horsemen of the Silver Wolves, Sergio Zapata's, just burst onto the season. Just burst onto the scene. He had a little cameo in 2029. 2030, Rookie of the Year, 3 consecutive MVP awards. Probably could argue for a couple more. Sergio Zapata is the greatest Silver Wolf in the history of professional baseball. And I don't know that it's terribly close. With all due apologies to Ernie Jarvis, Andy Chocolate, and Gunnar Henderson, Sergio Zapata was just that fucking good. And let's not forget the most important part of Sergio Zapata's skill. Where is it? It's under history, right? This. Sergio Zapata was putting up MVP appearances every single year when he was making less than $20 million, which gave us so much more flexibility to manipulate and not to manipulate, to build the roster around him. It reminds me a lot of the current Jose Ramirez, except Sergio Zapata is better than Jose Ramirez. I know. Controversial guy. I will be back in just a moment, my friends. Let us bask upon the accomplishments of Sergio Zapata and then realize that nobody could ever compete with it. But so as I was saying, it's quite similar to the Jose Ramirez decision to sign for less money with the Guardians to help build a better team around him. Although Zapata is better than Ramirez, kind of. Ramirez is also like a Gold Glove caliber third baseman, which Zapata's defense is never his strong suit. But he also had, a 20-year career and was amazing the entire time, which is pretty sweet. It's good work if you can get it. Yeah. Jarvis had his first okay season. We have Colton Hartman, briefly, resoundingly, one of the Wolves of Silver. Juan Escalera, one of my first stupid contract decisions. Just, what kind of guy signs somebody like this? Oh no, he's actually one of my stupid trade decisions. My apologies. None of these guys turned out to be very good. I had to make room for Zapata, and I think we can all agree that one worked out. 31. Zapata and Jacques Leto were their very best at the same time. Chris Thomason had such a fascinating career with us. Like, he was an afterthought for so much, then the right injury happened at the right time, and he became critically important, and then he just stopped. Like, for this one enchanted moment, he was an incredible player, a worthy all-star, and a highly competitive player, and then he just went in the toilet. And he had a little bit of a bounce back with Detroit, but then he just went back in the shitter. So, yeah. Good season, though. One of the parade of first basemen that were horribly incompetent, except for like 20 minutes. Ernie Jarvis, another season. Jackson Ferris, I believe we traded for him if I remember correctly. Maybe it was, yeah, we turned Jesus Uriarte and Bubba Chandler into Jackson Ferris, and he was decent for a couple seasons and then disappeared. But again, notice how much we're getting from our offense versus how much you're getting from our pitching. Um, this is why it took us so very, very long to be world champions. We just took it 2031. I don't think we did. No, we did. Yeah, 31 is the one year we just did. 32, our first ever World Series championship. Zapata was great. Henderson was great. Giacoletto was great. Jazz Chisholm was a nice little addition. Damiano Palmigiani, another one of the endless cascade of first basemen. Two great catchers. However, Bobby Miller, Jim Resendez are the reasons why we won this season. And Josh Hunter. We got quality pitching for the first time. And people that would be good pitchers for us for a while to go. Like Jimmy Harmon, like Amari Eob, like Chris Perry for at least a while. It was closer to 50-50. And it got us a world championship. And then in 2033, it was even better. Jarvis, Harmon, and Eob all had amazing seasons. Joe Welch was a fantastic reliever, and Chris Perry had a great season too. Nate Quinn, remember him? One of the unsung heroes of the Silver Bulls. His incredible abilities in the bullpen helped us win multiple championships, for which we must be eternally grateful. So obviously, what's the lesson here from these first 3 years? Sergio Zapata is fucking awesome. Granted. However, it's also important to see that balance. Very, very few lopsided teams that are, truly amazing offensively, but like utter dog shit pitching, or vice versa, are successful. There's obviously levels to it. There's obviously, there's obviously gradations. It's a spectrum, right? Like, I'm not saying you're pitching and hitting it to be exactly the same, but you want them either both to be really good, or you want them to be close enough. So you're not relying on one thing or the other come postseason time. Just to skip ahead a little bit, let's look at 2050, the season that just ended. 25 WAR hitting, 30 WAR pitching. This means we didn't have top level offense. This is actually a pretty balanced roster that won 102 games. We lost in the postseason because the pitching didn't work. And that's always a trap with the postseason. It's always important to keep in mind that the regular season is different from the postseason. They're just different. And unless they're going to play every single game, it's hard to guarantee success in the postseason. Even this run here of 3 world championships in 5 years, what carried us over the top? It was, first of all, Sergio Zapata being awesome. Although here he's already starting to decline. This was the year that Mitch Couples won the MVP. No, he didn't win MVP. I thought he did. I guess he didn't. Because there was that one crazy ass year where he got an 8 WAR. Just completely out of nowhere. This is the first year of Darren Heil. This is Mike Bennett. Sergio Zapata is still a useful player if he's not top tier anymore. We've got Carmona at his very best. Jarvis, Carrillo. Billy Pickering for the flash in the pan that he was. But again, notice the numbers here. Very close to balanced. And then that means you're not relying as heavily on any one player. So yeah. Let's look Before we conclude, let's look at our not our regis, our leaders, the all-time leaders of Charizards, who are the very best of all time. Sergio Zapata shows up a lot here, not a surprise. I am surprised that Rody Bomers is the #2 overall hitter for the Silver Wolves by batting average. That's kind of surprising to me. Um, Mike Bennett's 273 ranks 10th. That's funny. Best on base percentage is Zapata, Heil, Jacques Loto. No surprises there. Alejandro Rivera. I know we didn't keep him for very long, but he really was a tremendous catcher that just got too expensive and wasn't worth it. But genuinely, that's a good player right there. Jorge Ariola was one of those many guys that just we kept like giving him opportunities, but he didn't get a guaranteed spot. We moved on from him too. There's Gunnar Henderson. Slugging, it's obviously Zapata then Heil. Eric Anfuso was like this glorious beacon of baseball quality. He flashed across the sky like a colossus and then just as quickly disappeared. This 4-year run was something truly special. And then he just couldn't replicate it again. He couldn't do it. But he's a great player for as long as you had him. Fuchi Ryu, remember him? I remember him. One of our first big free agent outlays. That was not a good decision. It just wasn't. Jeff Schumo, Juan Salazar, Juan Gaviret, OPS, Zapata, Heil, Gillens, Anfuso, Ryu, Schumo. War, it's Zapata by a lot. But I think Mitch Couples was also very good. He's another guy, a bit like Jock Leto, actually, where they got hurt and then their careers just suffered. I know Couples is technically still playing, but he's obviously nowhere near the same player as he was with me. Whereas Jacques Leto had that perfect career that just looked amazing. And then he just got old. Although, arguably, one of his best years was in 2038. So he still had one more amazing year left in him. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. And I've come to grips with that. Bo Naylor, shout out. Yeah, Zapata's Mr. Silverwolf. No one had played more games than he did. Henderson is close. Couples is not close. Yeah. At bats, typical numbers here. I feel like Andy Gillens was such an interesting player. I think he became weighed down by the burdens of his contract and the fact he's not a very good fielder no matter where you put him. But there was a time he was genuinely a pretty consistent producer. He just won until he didn't. Injury really screwed him. He just wasn't the same guy after 2048. He just wasn't. Runs. Jeff Schumo. Oh, forgive me. Jeff Schumo. What a legend for those handful of seasons. I think one of the things we did better than I've done in many other series is we caught players at the perfect time and got rid of them at the perfect time. I have a tendency to hang on to players too long. And while you could argue I did that with Zapata, like, how was I not going to keep him until he literally like dropped dead on the field? He's too good. He's too important. But that is something I think I avoided for the most part pretty effectively in this playthrough. I didn't hang on to players too long. I got rid of them when they were less useful. And very few players after they left me had as good a season. Chocolate being the one exception. Total bases, singles, doubles, triples. I'm surprised to see him leading the the singles and triples because he wasn't a great. Although Zapata became a great base runner. Initially, he didn't steal very often, but then he just became very, very consistent. Stealing bases and adding another dimension to his game, which I think helped with his longevity. Um, that's not normal. It's not normal to see a player um, get faster as they get older, or at least get better at base stealing. Usually, you're either always great or you're really good at the beginning, and then you drop off quite dramatically because of injuries, because of old age, etc., etc. Um, I did not have. Beg your pardon. I did not have Darren Heil was the number 2 home run hitter for the Silver Wolves. That's a little surprising to me. Heil's been really good though. Like he's been really, really good. I think we're a bit spoiled by thinking guys like Zapata, and when people aren't like Zapata, we feel like they're failures. He's not a failure. He's an MVP. He's an outstanding defensive first baseman after being a mid second baseman, and he just hits every season. 230 home runs in less than 10 years is pretty impressive. I think Kyle is an amazing player, and I'm glad that we found him. Something else I want to highlight here is these players that we acquired weren't always high draft picks. Sure, second round pick for couples, but Kyle was a sixth round pick. She was what, an eighth round pick? 17th round pick. We did phenomenal at getting value later in the draft. I think part of that is this version of OOTP had stronger draft classes than I've seen in previous years. But I think we just got lots and lots and lots of value late in the draft, which just didn't happen in other playthroughs. Zapata walks leader, hit by the most pitches. What about our pitching leaders? Best single season record belongs to Ernie Jarvis, but look how frequently Carrillo shows up there too. They've both been excellent pitchers. Plus Arturo Ayala, who just got on the list. Career ERA is Nate Quinn, then Carrillo, then Vandergreen, then Jarvis. So our 2 best starters were Carrillo and Jarvis. That's interesting. Casey Choate always just frustrated the shit out of me because he just kept getting injured, but he actually was a really good pitcher when he was healthy, which I think is fascinating. Most wins, we have 2 200 win guys and 1 100 win guy. Nobody else is particularly close. Oh, David Jaskary has 54 wins. That's pretty impressive. Most losses, the top 3 in the same order, plus Tanner Houck. Winning percentage, I don't have a lot of stock in because it's going to be over indicted with relievers. Nate Quinn, 274 saves. That's reasonably good, actually. Chris Wilson is just now 26 and already has the second most saves in our history. Carrillo's a Hall of Famer. I feel pretty confident that he's going to be a Hall of Famer too. Carmona, less certain, and then it kind of goes from there. Really, I think this is another very telling stat. When were we the best we could be? When we had these 3 pitchers on our roster at the same time. It helped us get through those postseason series. Starting pitching is probably less important in the regular season than it's ever been in the games past. But I think it's even more important in the postseason. Let me explain that. Starting pitchers pitch a lower percentage of their team's innings in the modern game than they ever had previously. There's dozens of other reasons for that. I'm not going to belabor that particular point because we talked about it quite a bit. However, you don't want to have too many relievers on your postseason roster. If you have great starters, they can help your bullpen be used when it's most effective. Even if those starters aren't pitching 250 innings anymore, you still need great ones to be a great team. That's just my opinion. but I think it's reasonable based on the universe we found ourselves in 2025. Most complete games, most shutouts. Carrillo again. Always Carrillo. Forever Carrillo. Innings pitched Jarvis. Hits allowed Jarvis. Home runs allowed Carrillo. Walks allowed Jarvis by a lot. Walks per nine, Carrillo has been amazing at it. Toshiharu Masuda, you may recall, is one of those guys we signed off of free agency, hoping for him to stabilize our rotation, which he didn't really do. Mm. And we got Chris Rainey in exchange, who was a fucking nobody. Didn't even play the majors for us. That was probably a mistake. Woof. Most strikeouts, Jarvis. 3,000 strikeouts is a pretty easy ticket to the Hall of Fame, which is why I think Korea is going to get there too. Although the reason Jarvis has so many strikeouts is he just pitched a really long time. Look at strikeouts per nine. He's not even in the top 10. His career strikeouts per nine, if we look at them, are 7.8. That is almost a full strikeout per nine below Chris Perry, who is another guy like Casey Chuck that was just utterly ravaged by injuries. He just couldn't stay on the field, and so he turned into a reliever and just wasn't very good at that. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio. That's damn sexy. Nate Quinn really was a great pitcher for us. I think he got underappreciated, but he has 3 rings to show for it. And at his best, he was a phenomenal relief pitcher. Just so bloody good. He led the league in oops. And then there's our war, which I think is baseball reference, making these two look even more amazing. So, yeah. I hope you guys. If we look at best teams of all time, I'm curious. There's leaderboards and then there's teams, right? I feel like that's a thing that exists. Yeah, here you go. 117 wins, just like the Mariners of 2001 didn't win the World Series. Any other wild stuff? I mean, look at that Twins slugging percentage record. That's pretty crazy. And yeah, because we have the whole league history, it's really hard for us to show up on this, but I still feel pretty good about it. If I remember correctly, Sergio Zapata is literally like a top 20 player. He's exactly 20. That tells you right there how special he was. If we look at pitchers all time, I wonder where Jarvis and Carrillo rank there. Probably much lower because the game used to be so much easier for pitchers. I clicked the wrong button. I'm sorry. Oh, let's try it again. So by WAR, Cy is obviously the best pitcher of all time. Is there any Jarvis top 20? He's 25. Sergio Carrillo is 37. Those are genuinely like low key Hall of Fame numbers. If you can call yourself one of the best players of all time, you get in the Hall of Fame. I think Kevin Brown, among real life pitchers, doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. I know he didn't pitch for a lot of really good teams. Like he had really great stats when he was the only good pitcher on the Rangers. Um, they had that magical season in '98 where he won. I think he won Cy Young that year. Maybe he didn't, but I just like because he didn't get a bunch. I feel like because he didn't win a bunch of championships, He doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, but I think he genuinely is a really good pitcher. Is he a Hall of Famer? I guess. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think he's as good as guys rated above him, but you know, he's a good pitcher. I like Kevin Brown a lot. Um, During my formative years and as a baseball fan in the '90s, I remember him pitching for. I remember it was he and Kenny Rogers were like two really good pitchers for Texas, but the rest of the pitching staff was garbage. Um, so they both didn't look as good, maybe by comparison. Legend Josh Grote is the 100th best pitcher of all time. That's something. Where does our friend Nate Quinn finish on the all-time save leaderboard? 271 isn't a very impressive total, but maybe I'm thinking it's worse than it is. It's literally less than half of Mariano Rivera's total. Yeah, Nate Quinn is 53rd. Okay. I don't feel nearly as bad about him making the Hall of Fame then. Oh, Mike Fontaine. Oh, he's active. That's what that means. That's right. Um, I genuinely don't think there should be a lot of relievers in the Hall of Fame. I think the ones that are in there for the most part deserve to be there, like Billy Wagner, Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, etc. But relievers are so overvalued, and I think everybody knows that, but they still keep falling for the same shit all the time. Relievers get comically large salaries. You can sit there and say Juan Soto makes too much money with his new contract with the Mets. I don't disagree with you. I think he's making a fantastic amount of money. He also plays 150 plus games a year. A position player is just more valuable than a reliever. Yeah, I don't know. I think relievers are vastly overpaid, and they're being paid for mystique. Like, if you get a large number of saves, you must be a great closer. When some of the best pitchers are ones that don't get saves. Um, I think relievers shouldn't be held to this really low standard for. Yes, they should make 25 million a year. I think that's silly. I don't think a reliever does make 25 million a year, but anyways. So let's wrap it up. First of all, I want to thank you all profusely, whether this is your first episode or your last episode or however many you watched in between. I'm really glad that you were able to join us and enjoy this ride. For a expansion team that started off very humbly, made some great draft picks and great international free agent signings, and turned into a dynasty. Because I can say this with utter confidence. If you make that many playoff appearances in a row, you are a dynasty. 21 playoff appearances in a row, and 5 World Series championships makes you a dynasty. If you want to be picky and say, no, 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 only the 2043 through 2047 are truly a dynasty because that's the ones that won a bunch of championships in a row, fine. But there's definitely at least one dynasty here, maybe two. Maybe two. Um, so, starting on Friday in the evening, we'll start with the White Sox, out of the park baseball 2026, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited to see how the new player development stuff works. That should be a lot of fun. Um, and then potentially also a second series on Mondays. Do let me know in the comments if you think the idea of having another tutorial series would be beneficial. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Your viewership is always appreciated. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below to let me know what you think about what we should do in the future. And until next time, this has been UpGuardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.